Hey, what's up, people? Today, we're going to be taking a look at this old tape recorder and player that coincidentally also happens to be a RadioShack product. And the funny part is, I totally did not plan this way. I was actually working on a different video, but I hit a snag where I'm going to have to order some parts before I can continue it. So I kind of had to put that on the back burner. And then another video that I was planning on working on, the thing that I'm actually waiting for in the mail, did not arrive on time. And while I was actually looking for something completely unrelated to videos or anything like that, I came across this tape recorder and player that I've actually had for like, I probably had this for like over 20 years at this point, and it has an issue. And the funny part is that on the previous video, I actually had a viewer request if I could do like a video on like a tape player or like headphones or something like that. And I thought, yeah, I could do that, but I don't have anything on hand at the moment. I'll have to like, maybe find something or figure something out, think about something. I totally had forgotten that I had this on hand. And so I came across it and I was like, perfect. So this is a really old, like voice activated cassette recorder. And it has an issue with the pinch roller, I believe. And this is a one that's it can be powered 3 ways. It can have like a low voltage 6-volt connection right here. It can take batteries. It takes 4 C batteries, or it can be plugged into mains. And I had actually already opened this up like a very, very long time ago. Like I said, I probably had this for like over 20 years. And when I got it, it already didn't work properly. And as you can see, it's already missing screws because I had opened it, but then I just never got around to actually like trying to figure it out. So all the screws are missing. It also has this like handle here so you can carry it, but I'm not going to try to do that because it's just going to completely fall apart. So as far as opening it up goes, this should be fairly easy due to the fact that it has no fasteners. Actually, before we open it up, though, I just remembered, let's just try it out and see what it does, and I can show you. I think there was like the pinch roller was just like not engaging properly, and so the tape just like goes a little too fast. And I had some tapes around here. Where did I put them? All right, found them. So I have no idea what's actually on this tape. I have not tried playing these in a very long time. It could be Spanish music. It could be house music from back when I used to listen to house music. So, okay, tape's going to go in this way. Let's see what happens. I'll start with the low volume so it doesn't blow anything out. Let's see. Okay, let's hit play. And it does not want to... There it goes. Okay. Whoa, that sounds terrible.
98.3.
Oh, so this was something recorded off the radio.
Christian music for the
What the... Okay, so there wasn't much recorded on that tape. Like shortly after that, it just completely stopped. But I did find another tape that I had around here, and I have no idea what the heck this is. But it's just like asking a bunch of questions. And
One day, Robert Restall, his son, and 2 other friends tried to find the treasure. They died from breathing poisonous gas from a bad pump.
Question. What were they killed by?
bad pump. I don't know. So I don't know. It seems to be working kind of okay. Maybe I did fix the pinch roller, but it definitely has like a few issues. So I think maybe it's just going to be worth opening it up and seeing if there's like anything inside that's kind of like binding or isn't rolling smoothly or whatever. So yeah, let's just open it up and see if we can get it consistently working and like playing tapes without making a bunch of like funny noises or anything like that. So, like I said, there are no screws in this thing, so should all just kind of like fall out here like that. And you can see we got a little transformer here, and that's for the mains input. So this board here is not attached to anything; it's just kind of there. Got a lot of wires here going to stuff on this side. That's for the motor right there. A speaker, then another set of orange ones here. There's like no connectors here that I can just like remove and bring the board over, so I think I'm gonna have to do some desoldering, unfortunately. Well, actually, if I take this tape off right here, it gives me a little more room there, but not very much. Okay, so this set of orange wires that's coming down to here, it goes to an LED for the top there. I think that's for the it says record and battery. So that I can just remove that screw right there, and I can just bring that up. The speaker itself, I probably will detach or desolder the wires for, just because I don't want to have it like flopping around all over the place. Now, thankfully, all the wires here, wherever their location is, they're actually labeled. So for the speaker ones here, it actually says like SB right there behind them. And then that side right there says B, and that says W for blue and white. So that's going to make it easier to remember where exactly they went after I remove it. And the motor is right there. So for the time being, I will just remove those so I can move this board out of the way. Now there's two wires here that are like little cables that are bundled with. It's got 3 conductors right there, so that one's probably going to be for the playhead, I'm guessing. Even though this isn't stereo, this other smaller cable here only has 2 conductors, and that says ECM, so that would be for the microphone. Oh, while we're in here, actually, we can remove this handle. Should just come out like that. Okay, so the wires for this switch right here, I'll just detach them from right there where the terminals are, just so that they're not bending around and breaking later on. And the head, I'm just going to desolder from the board. Now, the microphone I said was that other smaller cable. I'm just going to leave that attached because that's actually like on the case itself, is not part of the tape mechanism. So now there are 2 screws. There's one right here, and I can move this other bottom part off to the side, and then there's a screw right here. So once I take those 2 off, the tape transport should come out. All right, that's all screws out of there. There's only 2, but I should be able to just pull this straight out, I think. Or maybe not, because the lid there is latched into it. So there we go. That allows the entire tape transport to come out. So you got a little belt here running from, or actually that's the supply side reel to the counter. Got the little erase head right there. Basically, that's just going to be like a magnet. Oh, okay, I see. So the red and the white are the ones that are being used for the head. The other one's just the grounding point. And there's a pinch roller that I thought was the issue, but as we saw, it actually plays. This little rod right here has some clips on the ends, and that just holds all the keys in the front as a complete assembly. So then the back of these here, when you push like one down, it just pushes up against these tabs right there. So that's how it engages like the play, fast forward, rewind. This one here is like pause. And then this one right here is going to push the play at the same time because that one's record. But since we don't have a tape in there, it has nothing to push up against this little like lever over here. So once the tape's activated right there with the little record tab in place, then that entire thing will engage and it'll pull the magnet down into the tape. We can see right there that when we push play, the magnet here does not come down. Only when we push record like that. As far as the circuit board here goes, there's not much on it other than like a bunch of capacitors. That chip right there, that's a TA7628, and it's basically like the heart of the thing. It does all the preamp, and then it also has a power amplifier. So it appears that also powers a speaker. Got a kind of a large transistor right there, and then this slide switch right here is this what would be like selecting the record and playback. It also had another knob right here for like tone. This little switch here was for the voice activation if you wanted the recording to be voice activated or just like regular. So yeah, very simple circuit there. Not a whole lot of stuff on it. But as far as the tape transport goes, like nothing here feels like it's binding or anything. That feels okay. This one has like a little bit of drag on it, but there is like this little set of like pawls there that like moves one way or the other. And I believe that's for like the auto stop function. I think we can maybe see how that works if I rotate like the cap stand, so it would be going in like this direction. If I stop the take up reel here, there we go. It disengages the rest of the mechanism. We can see that again in action. I'm going to stop this from moving. There it goes, like that. So that appears to be working fine. None of these belts feel like they're particularly loose or anything. I'm wondering if they could be slipping, though. There's like some stuff right here. I'm not sure if that's like grease that might have gotten on there. Maybe not, because it doesn't seem like you can wipe it off. Now, this is a 6-volt, if we could focus on that right there. It's a 6-volt motor, so if I apply 6 volts to this, we can actually like see the mechanism in action, and maybe that'll give us like a clue and see if like, maybe like something is slipping in here or what's going on. All right, so I've got 6 volts here, and let's see, let's just pop in I actually have a brand new tape in a package right here that I found while perusing a thrift store one time, and it's not open, so this tape here should not have like any issues with like dragging or anything like that, because it's pretty much dust free. So let's pop this in there, and that way we can be sure that the tape does not introduce any weirdness. So yeah, like that. And I'm going to hit the play tab right there, and I'm going to attach 6 volts. And oh, I don't have it plugged in over here yet. There we go. Whoa, it's trying to walk. Everything here seems okay. Let's see what happens if we put a little bit of drag on here. Is the motor going to slip? No, that's pretty strong. That right there also is that feels pretty good. Those belts are engaging pretty well, so I don't think those are going to be an issue. And I don't ever like repair like any tape stuff or anything like that. I don't have like any particular equipment to like test for like a wow flood or anything like that. And I don't have like any reference tapes that, are known to be like, perfect recordings or anything like that. So I'm kind of just using the old eyeballs here to see if I can see anything that's looks obviously like problematic or something. But I'm going to stop this here. That seems like it went okay. I did notice that first tape that I tried, I wanted to see what happened if I played it this way, where it already has like a bunch of tape on this side, and it did not want to play at all. Like it just had like too much friction or something there. So let's see what happens with this just sitting right here. I'm going to push play again. See, that doesn't want to rotate, but I don't know if that's a tape problem or if that's this thing not able to get it to roll. Okay. I think that see how when I pushed on the pinch roller, then it finally did move. I think that was the issue. Now that I think about it, there we go. See, I put pressure on that; it's able to get that side to take up the tape there. So it just appears that this pinch roller is just not pinching it enough to be able to grip the tape when you have a lot of tape on this side. And yeah, I think I'm remembering now. I think that was the issue with this thing. So let's see what we can do to get a little bit more pressure down on that pinch roller. Okay, so looking at the pinch roller here, when we engage the play button, we can see that it looks like the only thing that puts any pressure against it is this spring right here. So as we push down on the playhead, and it hasn't latched yet, once it latches, it appears that that spring there is the only thing putting some pressure down on the pinch roller to pinch up against that capstan there. So maybe we need to tension up that spring a little bit by like stretching it out, because there's really nothing else in that area that's putting any sort of a pressure on that. So, well, let's see if that works. It's not like I have a replacement pinch roller or anything like that we can use. So, well, that came off pretty easily. Just had to pull back on this little tab right there. That's the only thing that locks it into place. So the spring fits inside of that little cutout right there. And, I mean, there's really not much to it. I mean, we could clean that a little bit. I mean, it doesn't look to be in like bad shape or anything. It just has like a little bit of like maybe a dust buildup or something on it. But let's see if we can remove this spring from in here. Turn this light down just a tad. So I can probably bring this over this way. Ooh, I almost lost it right there. And up and out. And looks like that should slide out that way. There we go. Maybe I can give it a little bit more of a bend right there. We can see how it's got that little bend. So maybe make it so that it's this like sits in the same spot right here, but it's able to put a little bit more pressure on the pinch roller from that direction. So let's try that and see if that works. So I'm just going to clamp this here with some of these little forceps. I'll try to get these ones a little bit closer to where the actual bend is. Let's get a little bit of focus on that right there. There we go. And bend it this way, little bit like that. It's going to spring back, so I want to go a little bit past where I actually want it to put pressure down. So let's try that. Let's see if that makes much of a difference. And actually, before I put it back together, I'm just going to clean the pin there with a little bit of alcohol, and I'll also wipe off the pinch roller a little bit. Okay, so for the pin here on the capstan, I'm just going to use while I rotate the capstan down here, I'm just going to rub this Q-tip that I've soaked with IPA. Hopefully remove like any grease or anything that may be on it. Oh yeah, and there was definitely some stuff on there. As you can see, it looks kind of brownish. So I'm just going to clean that off. So I think that's going to be good for that. And for the pinch roller, I don't want to use alcohol. I don't know how that's going to affect the rubber. But I've read that some people use like a Windex or a glass cleaner to clean them. So I will try that. I don't have like any dedicated cleaners for this stuff. So we're just going to have to try what I can find here. I mean, this rubber actually feels pretty nice and springy. So it doesn't appear to be like hardened or anything. So that looks pretty good, I think. It doesn't look like it's deformed or anything, so it should be fine. All right, let that dry for a bit, and then we'll try to reassemble everything. And reassembling this is basically going to be just going in reverse. I got to put the spring back in here, like that. Then I got to bring this one up and around. Probably be easier if I do it with these forceps again. It just needs to come up right here. And in there, like that. Okay, the pinch roller just needs to come down and snap back into its place. So it just needs to go in like that. And there we go. It's locked in. Okay, so I'm just going to apply the 6 volts here because as long as the play button is not engaged, the motor will just rotate, but it doesn't actually do anything. Let's pop that back in. And let's hit play. Let's see how it does. Whoa, what happened there? There he goes. And it's still no good. Yeah, there's still not enough pressure on that. Look at that. Okay, well, that's kind of disappointing. Okay, so maybe I'll try the first thing I was thinking about is like kind of like unbending the spring a little bit in this direction from like where it's coiled. Maybe just putting that little bend there just wasn't enough to put more pressure down on the pinch roller. And actually what I would have done now that I think about it is when it's in the stop position as it is now, it's actually going to probably like move it down in this direction a little bit when it's not supposed to be engaged. So that may not have exactly been the best of ideas. So let's try to go with the spring idea over here instead and see if that is more helpful than what I just did. So I'll just remove this again. So, like I said, instead I'm going to just like grip it from here. And then I'm going to take another set of forceps here and lock it in place. And I'm basically going to like uncoil it is basically what I'm doing here. And now you can see that it's definitely a bit uncoiled there. Let's try popping it back in. Let's put that in there. Let's push play. And it's still no good. Rewinding seems to work okay. Fast forwarding definitely does not. Aha, look at this. So when I try to fast forward, it doesn't have enough strength to rotate there. It looks like maybe that bottom belt is slipping right there. You can kind of see it. Okay, so maybe it is a belt problem after all. Let's remove these belts and see what this bottom one here is like. It's hard to tell, to be honest. I think the only thing I could really do is maybe just replace it and see if it gets better. And I think I do have some. I don't know where exactly, though. I'm going to have to try to dig them out. In the meantime, though, maybe what I'll do is I'll like stick a Q-tip down into the into the V's right there where they're supposed to ride in and clean them out. I can actually remove this capstan there. If I remove that little like split washer down in there, then this whole entire thing can come out. That way I can get down there underneath and like clean it off a bit. That rotates pretty freely, so it's definitely not like a gummed up issue or anything like that. You can see that right there. That will go for a while. So that seems totally fine. See this right here, if I just put it somewhere neutral, that's not too bad either, so that's not an issue, and my alarm's going off. Okay, so this split washer can easily come off if I just like separate it a bit, and then I can push down on the pin there. Right, so I got it out one side right there. I need the other side to come out. There we go. I can just push this down and out. And thankfully, I didn't lose the washer that was underneath or the split washers. So even though they kind of flew, they didn't fly very far. And that's the V grooves of the capstan there. They don't look particularly dirty or like oily or anything. But I will give them a good cleaning just to make sure that the belts are able to grip them properly. So that looks fine. Okay, sad news, people. I've searched high, I've searched low, I've searched near, I've searched far, and I cannot for the life of me find the container that I had where I had a bunch of like brand new belts. And I'm starting to believe that maybe I gave it away about 6 years ago when we moved, and I gave it away like a big pile of stuff. It may have been in that, and yeah, unfortunately, nowhere that I've looked have I even like found like any clues of it. For the time being, I think what I can try to do is I've cleaned all these belts, and I've also cleaned the pulleys here on the capstan, and I was able to remove the metal part of it. It looks, or actually, it turned out that it just had this little tab right here, and as long as like I could lift it up a little bit this way, I was able to rotate it like out and off of it, so I can just put it back in basically the same way I took it off. So it just goes in like that. Well, actually, it looks like I just need to lift on it a little bit. This was the hard part, trying to rotate it and lift on the little tab at the same time. Trying not to break it. There it goes. So now I can, I rotated it the other way. There it goes. So now I just need to rotate it until that little tab clicks into one of those slots right there. It has 4, so it can go like pretty much any position. So there you go. That's all put back together. And I also cleaned the pulley right here on this little slip clutch. The slip clutch I don't think is an issue, but I guess we'll find out. I don't think that was, I don't think that's what was slipping. I'm pretty sure it was just the belt. I'd have to go back and review the footage. But I mean, that's pretty much all I can do at the moment. Like I said, there's really nothing else that looks problematic. So I'm going to go ahead and try to reassemble this thing, and we'll test it again and see if just cleaning the belts makes much of a difference. But I mean, either way, I'm going to have to replace these belts anyways. They do look like they're a bit on the stretched out side, so it's pretty much not good to keep them around much longer. So I'm just going to drop that in there. I'm trying not to touch the belts as much as possible, just like barely make contact with them. I don't want to leave like finger grease on them, even though this little tiny belt here wasn't really affected much. It's a little deformed and like stretched out. You can see it right there how it's kind of moves around. So yeah, like I said, it's been sitting for many, many years. There we go. All right, let's see how much that actually helped. All right, so I'm connecting 6 volts right here, and it's trying to walk again. And where is that tape? Here it is. Okay, so we're going to put the side that has the most tape on it on this side, and there's a very little right here on the supply reel, so let's see if it'll go. It's trying to, but it's struggling, so yeah, it's definitely going to need new belts, and like I said, unfortunately, I cannot find the supply that I thought I had, so I'm going to have to figure out where I can order some belts and measure them and all that. But just real quick here, just so we can see that it's not the slip clutch that's the one that's like slipping too much. You get up real close right there. So the inner part should be able to slip from this outer part. And when we push play... Okay, I may have been wrong here. I just noticed something. I didn't realize that. Oh, when I push play, it's not this gear that drives this gear. It's that gear that drives this gear. So... But this isn't slipping anymore. I think that was only... Was that only slipping when we were trying to fast forward? Okay, so it's fast forwarding now, and it's rewinding. Okay, so as far as fast forwarding and rewinding goes, right there, if it's upside down, it definitely slips too much. You can see right there, it's trying to grip, but it can't. Maybe this one's the one that's slipping a little too much. So this one here has a slip clutch as well. So let's see if we can remove this then and take a look at that. I thought we were done here. All right, so I'm looking at the hub here, and I'm not entirely sure how to pull this off. I don't know if I can just like pull up on it, but I have to remove this sort of a little arm here that engages the auto stop. So it's got this little tab right there, but it looks like there might be something else over in here that holds it in place. So let's see if I lift up in there a little bit, like this direction, maybe it'll release. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so that's out. So let's set that aside. Oh, there is a little spring right here that came off along with it. So now I'm going to have to figure out how that's supposed to go on. Okay, I don't think this is going to be part of it, but it looks like this piece here we can like pull off. All right, so can I push it off this way? Okay, so that comes off. Oops. Okay, does that allow this to come off? I don't think so, but I'm not sure how it's like snapped into place here. Hopefully it's not something like internal there that I can't access. And I'll try to go in from underneath like this. I'm trying to go in as like furthest into the center as I can, and I'm kind of pushing down on this side here, trying to pry up at the same time. Okay, let's try twisting a little. There he goes. It released. And it doesn't feel like I broke anything, so that's good. And that's the bottom side. So will this come apart? Okay, this feels like it's two pieces. Like I can grab this gear down here at the bottom, and I can kind of like wiggle the hub back and forth. But I don't know how it comes. Oh, you just pull it apart. Okay. All right, so there's a spring right here that's keeping some tension between these two gears, and that's what's going to put pressure on that little felt pad in there. And okay, so it looks like what's happened is maybe too much lubrication has gotten on that felt pad, and it's causing it to slip like way too much. Like this is supposed to have some friction on it, but it's basically not able to grip the surfaces very well. And so instead of being able to drive the gear the way it's supposed to, or with the strength that it's supposed to, it's just slipping. So I'm going to have to clean off all of that grease in there on that surface. I don't know if I'll be able to clean off this pad. I mean, maybe I can try to wash it and see if it works. And then right there's a bunch of like oily residue you can see. So we'll try that. We'll try cleaning off all the lubricant. I'll try to wash the little felt pad here. We'll reassemble it and see if that helps. Okay, so I'll try to use Windex in here. Let's see if this helps. Okay, and I just finished it off here with some IPA on this cotton swab here just to try to remove as much of it as possible. I think that's going to have to do it for that. Okay, this one here's the much more oily one, and I think maybe somebody went a little too happy there with the lubricant. I think we really needed to have like a whole lot for this, and maybe just like a little tiny bit right here on the center, just to reduce friction a bit between the parts. Well, that's the first pass there. That certainly looks much better. And you can see how the surface here is textured, so that's to provide like a little bit of friction on the little felt pad. So yeah, this is not supposed to slip that much. Okay, I'm going to try to soak this one here with like Windex, and I'm just going to try to blot it and see if it helps. You can see how there's like little dark spots there. I think that's where the like lubricant is kind of like soaked in. Maybe I'll try washing it with like a little bit of soap and water too, though. Maybe that'll help a little bit. Okay, so I've got all these parts cleaned. The felt got slightly deformed, but it's not too bad. And unfortunately, I don't have like any material like this that I can just make another little felt pad like this out of. So it's just going to have to remain the way it is. So that's going to go in there. Then this one goes over the top like that. And the spring just goes over the, like this. And then the hub just snaps right on top of all that, like that. Let's see, how grippy is it now? Feels a bit grippier, so yeah, that seems like it'll help. So, I mean, that kind of feels okay, but I think maybe if I give it like that spring a little bit more compression just by maybe like stretching it out a little tiny bit, it'll provide a little bit more pressure on the between the two plates so that it grips a little bit better. And try not to get any lubricant anywhere near that little pad inside. So pop this back on. I don't know. I can't tell. I guess it'll have to do. And now that I'm looking at it, it looks like this didn't even need to come off in the first place. That can just stay on. So, okay, we'll leave that on. And we can pop the entire hub assembly back into its pin there. So now that's attached. Okay, so I just rewatched some of the footage just to try to get an idea of how it might be reassembled. So it looks like this part here is putting some pressure down on here when it's assembled like this. So it's basically pushing down in that direction. So I think if I actually like lift this up, all right, there we go. So if I can like bring this over like that and keep it right there, that will clear the peg that's supposed to go in there. And then once I have the little lever piece back into place, then I can bring this over and back into that spot, and then it should be fine. Oh, I didn't put this underneath that tab there. That's the problem. Okay, so I gotta pull this back out, bring that back over the peg. There we go. And stick this end in first, and it kind of looks weird here on camera. Like that. And snap that back down. Okay, that's in place. Now I can bring this over. Like that. Now this should... Is it going to work the way it's supposed to? Yeah, that looks like it's doing its job. Okay, so that should be fine. And I don't know why I didn't think of this before, but these 2 lead acid batteries that I have laying around here are becoming like universally helpful. I can actually rest this on these tabs, and then that way the mechanism is off the bench so that the pulleys and stuff are not rubbing on the surface. And then that way I can apply power and I don't have to worry about it trying to walk around. Okay, so that looks like it's working properly. Let's see. Pop the tape in. Let's rewind it a bit just to get a little bit more tape on this side. And what the heck? Whoa, 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 whoa. What the heck is going on? What happened there? Oh, shoot. I hooked up the motor backwards. Whoops. There we go. Okay. Whoa. You got parts flying. What the heck? Okay, obviously I didn't put something on right. All right, so I managed to recover both pieces. This one here was pretty easy to find because it didn't fly very far. This one, however, took me like 30 to 45 minutes to figure out where it landed. And I tried to watch the video to see like if I could figure out like which trajectory it took, because it went Team Rocket on me and it just blasted off into space, and it it joined the tape transport space program. But I ended up finding it over here off to my left. It was actually laying on top of one of the paper towels that I kind of like just tossed off to the side there. And I think I realized what I did wrong. So there's one groove right here on the hub that this piece is supposed to like snap into. And I think what happened was I didn't snap it into that groove. I snapped it into like underneath the groove. And it's going to be kind of hard to see here, but it went in here instead. And so what I think happened is the spring is down there and it maybe like catches it and it made it like, you know, spin harder or try to like rotate harder than it should have. So it kind of like locked it in, and then it put pressure against that little lever there, and it just like shot off. So I got to make sure that when I put this on, I put it into the right groove. It should go like right in here. The groove is in the hub. All right, I think that's the right one. All right, this should all be reassembled properly now, and I'll make sure this time that I do not apply power on backwards. Maybe I should use some sort of a blast shield here. You shouldn't have to use a blast shield for a tape transport. All right, I'm just going to use this container lid. Just place it over the top like that. Let's apply power. Make sure that nothing goes flying. And why is that clicking? Can't seem to get this right, can I? I didn't move this into position. I just kind of put it in place. There we go. That's how it's supposed to go. All right, let's try it again. All right, there we go. So let's go ahead and click play now. Okay, so far so good. No issues. Let's go ahead and stop that. Let's rewind. And okay, that's going to happen because this part here has to be rotating to not trip the auto stop. So when you're rewinding, this one here can rotate, but if this one's not rotating, then it thinks that it's already, reached the end of the tape. But fast forwarding shouldn't do it like that. Okay, so that works. So if I kind of hold this in fast forward mode, it should stop. There it goes. Okay, so all that seems to be working just fine. Let's go ahead and put this tape back on and see if this time let's rewind it first. Get some tape on the supply reel. And that's all going well, so that's good so far. Okay, that should be enough. Let's go ahead and stop it. Now let's go ahead and hit play and see if this side takes up the tape as how it's supposed to. Holy crap, that works so much better. Got another old tape right here. Let's just try to pop that in and see if it also is able to... yep, that seems to be working pretty well. So, yeah, looks like definitely that slip clutch down here was the one that was causing the take-up problems. But, I mean, like I said, the belts definitely should be replaced at this point. If I flip it back over. So, yeah, this belt here has nothing to do with the playback. That's only for, like, rewinding and fast-forwarding. So now, because all this stuff I don't really need access to when I replace the belts, I am going to reassemble this back into the rest of the case. And once I order and get the new belts, then I can just like replace them from under. Well, actually, this one here might be a problem. It shouldn't be that big of a deal. Anyways, yeah, cleaning that slip clutch there made a huge difference. And for anybody that may be interested in seeing how this little counter mechanism there works, it's like so small on this thing. I'm going to take this cover off, and I will show you the mechanism in there. So we've got this little worm drive here that's driven by the pulley underneath, that's driven by the belt, and it turns that gear right there, and that gear is attached to this like little numbers roller right there. So that also engages this other gear on this side, and if we kind of move this along over here, we can see how there's like a little two little pegs right there that are going to engage this other gear here, and that's going to advance this wheel. So as it's coming around, you can see right there, it's got a little cutout. It gets right there to that gear, engages with it, and rotates the next wheel. So it's just going to keep doing that until it reaches 999, and then it's going to roll over to all zeros again. And then the reset button right here, let's see how that works. It just basically returns everything back to zero by pushing on this these little cams right there, and that just makes everything go right back to zero. Okay, so got all the pieces here. The microphone goes down in there, and I got to make sure that I put all the action keys back on here. Oh, all of these have to fit in here first. I didn't realize they had like a notch they had to go into. There we go. Now that's in. It's looking pretty good. Let's get this board swung over this way. I probably should measure that little thin belt there first, because these two other ones are easy to get to, but that one isn't, so I should probably take this back off. Alright, so I measured that, and I'm reassembling this now. Okay, so now that transport is secured to the top case. Bring this board back, and I forgot to put this LED back on. Oh wait, no, that one can be put on from here, so never mind. That's fine. Okay, that's secured. Oh, and by the way, that little belt on this side measured with the caliper, like stretched out, it measured about 60 millimeters. So in total, I'd need like a 120 millimeter belt. And I haven't measured these other ones yet. I mean, before I put this board on, I really should have done all these measurements. And you always want to get it a little bit smaller than what you measure. So right here, because it has to like go over this little ridge on both sides of the caliper there, I'm going to say that it's probably going to be like another 60 millimeter belt. But yeah, so I'd probably go with like a 120 there. See how kind of does that. I mean, alternatively, we can measure it with a little ruler like this. And I'm just going to put it like right there on the very edge. You can see that it goes pretty much all the way to the 60 right there. So yeah, it's going to be like another 120 millimeter belt. And the long one, so it's at about 111 millimeters, so that's, or 110 millimeters, so that's going to be like 220. All right, so those are back on. And these screws were missing already, so I'm going to have to go dig through my little tub of screws and try to find some replacements. I went spelunking through my tub of screws here, and I found a total of 6 screws, which is exactly what I need for this. And they are extremely similar, if not pretty much identical to one of the original screws. And I removed one of these from the tape transport there just so I could get like a reference. And they have like the same exact size head, and the thread pitch appears to be like exactly the same. I tried to like thread these into like some of the like the plastic standoffs just to make sure that they were going to work. And the only difference is that some of these are kind of dull looking compared to like one of the ones that was like in there. But I mean, that's to be expected when they're like in here rubbing around with all the other screws and all that. So they've gotten kind of dull over time. But other than that, they seem like, I mean, it's possible that at least one or more of these could have originally come from that tape player or recorder. And, you know, they just got tossed around with the rest of my other stuff. So these 6 are going to be perfect. And so I'm just going to set these aside here, move all this stuff out of the way, and then we'll continue reassembling. Before we go too much further, though, I do need to reattach the wires to this little switch down here, because that's all going to be covered up by the board. I can bring those in through this groove right here, and then get the head, and the microphone should also be able to come through there. Okay, so I'll put the screws on the board here first just to hold it in place, and then I'll solder all the wires back on the board. And some flux for the tape pads. Got 1, got 2, and 3. Now, when I get the new belts, I don't have to worry so much about desoldering any of these wires. The only reason I did that was to allow me to be able to maneuver the transport like upside down and all that stuff without having the board be like interfering. Once I replace the belts, then I'll be able to pretty much just keep everything intact. And so we still have the speaker and the motor wires to attach. And we'll do the motor first, since it's like right here, and then we'll do the speaker. And I'm going to make sure that I get these in the right orientation. So negative is on this side and positive is on that side. So we'll put the black one here and the red one here. Okay, that's good. Now the speaker. Okie dokie, that's done. This tape here will need to be replaced, so I'm just going to take that off. And I don't have like any of this exact same type of like felt tape. But I've got this really wonky looking roll of this like Tessa tape. And this stuff is pretty good. I'm going to cut like a few little strips out of here. I can get like 3 strips from there, make them long enough, and then that way I can replace those pieces that I removed from the board. Okay, I've got all those wires organized and bundled, and piece of tape. I guess that's much longer than it needs to be, but that should be fine. Okay. And 2, and 3. Okay, that should be it for everything in here. I've got all the wires soldered back into their places. Make sure nothing over here broke off. That all looks good. So, for the time being, yeah, that should work. I'm going to put the little handle back on here. That just kind of slides into place like that. And we can close it up for the time being until I get replacement belts. See everything here clicking, clicks into place, click, click, pause works. The record doesn't engage because there's nothing in there. So I'll just put the case screws on. And that's the last one right there. There we go. So now everything nice and secure. Put this battery cover on. Let's get the power cord. Let's try that tape again. All right, there we go. Turn on the volume here just in case. And let's put a tape inside. Which way did it go? This way. So it goes like that. Pop it in. Okay, let's hit play. There it goes. Oh, wait, this tape had like nothing on it. Where's that other tape I had? I think it was this one. This is the one that had like all those weird questions. I have no idea what this tape even is. Oh no, this is house music. But it's working totally fine. DJ Rip. Still seems to be fluctuating a little bit, but like I said, that could be due to the belts there not being all that great anymore. Well, let's test the voice recording capability, or the voice activation recording on this thing. So I'm just going to use that tape here that apparently has like nothing else on it. All right, let's rewind this all the way to the beginning. Who cares? We'll just do it right here. All right, let's see. Turn the voice activation there on. And let's hit record. And apparently it's not doing the voice activation thing. It just seems to be running the entire time. What happens if I cover the microphone? Nope. So, I guess that's not working. Turn it off. Nope. Turn it on. That's good. Let's see if it recorded something at least. It's not doing the voice activation thing. It's running the entire time. What happens if I cover the microphone? It sounds really warbly. So, I guess that's not working. Turn it off. Nope. Turn it on. That's good. Yeah, so playback's still not very smooth, but like I said, I'm probably not going to be able to do anything about that until I have brand new belts. Well, for the time being, I guess it's just kind of partially repaired until I get some new belts. Oh, and one other thing I forgot to mention about the belts. So the little thin belt that was up here for the counter, that was like a 0.5 millimeter belt. The two other belts, they measured at like a width of 1 millimeter. So I got to figure out where I can even get some belts because I'm not even sure. Like I said, I haven't dealt with anything like this in like a very, very long time. And there's no longer like any local stores where I can just, pop in to take the belts with me and be like, I need something about this size. So I got to look online and figure that out. So we'll probably revisit this in the future. I actually have another project that this might actually come in handy for once I get it like all like squared away. So that's going to do it for this one. And hopefully it was a little bit interesting seeing there how the mechanism works. And thank you guys for watching once again. And I will see you guys around the bench.